Okay, I posted this video up over here this morning, and I'm not doing much videos anymore. But I'm going to go ahead and reply back to a commenter, the only commenter I see here under this video, because I understand what this commenter's saying, okay? This is hard for me to get through. As an adult survivor of childhood incest, okay, by her father, now to me, see, this is the worst scenario case ever, because when your own father, your own dad, your biological blood dad, would consider going to bed with his own daughter as a child and then force it on her. I mean, it's bad enough as it is. I mean, but when it goes this far, it goes this low, I can understand why she feels what she feels. I really do. But as hard of a pill as this to swallow, some of the words she said here, I don't blame her for feeling. I really don't. Okay. But at the same time, it's these feelings that she's feeling that will allow somebody else's daughter to go through what you did. That will allow some other child to live what you lived. So while you're trying to stop it from happening to every other child, you're allowing it to happen. Yes, indeed you are. Because it was the lack of care that caused nobody to look for the root cause to begin with. If your car broke down and your car wouldn't start, I know this is like off BT, but it's not. It's an example that leads back to the exact same thing. If your car broke down and let's just say your battery's dead. This is the best example I can give you that's so easy for you to understand. Your battery's dead. So you go down to the parts store, you get a ride down to the cab or whatever, and you pick up a new battery. You come home and stick it in. Your car starts up. You drive it a little bit. Bam, new battery's dead. So you go ahead and take the battery out, replace it with another new one. It's got warranty, right? Come home, put it in, drive it a little bit, and it's dead again. Oh, well, hold on. We'll replace the alternator. So now we'll replace the alternator. Then your battery's dead. Do you follow what I'm saying? You're going to say, well, how come? Well, it's because you wasn't going after the root cause. If the windings in the starter pulls too many amps from the battery to start it, it'll kill the battery. But you can replace the alternator and you can replace the battery all you want. But that's never going to cure the problem because you're not willing to replace the starter. Why aren't you replace the starter? Well, because you're mad. Okay, because you don't want to look. You don't care. Now, I know that sounds like a shitty example, but it's really not, because when you don't care enough to understand what I'm telling you is this. People who have attractions to children did not ask for them. And you say you don't care. I understand this. What about the victims? Well, if you cared enough that you went looking for the cause of the problem, the cause of the pedophilia to begin with, and could find a way of altering what caused it to happen in their body so that they were no longer attracted to children, and could find a way of testing and knowing when somebody's born as a baby, if they have this issue, so that it could be corrected as their baby with this issue, then there won't be fathers growing up to do this to their daughters. There won't be other people out here growing up, women too, because there's women pedophiles out here, and we're not going to disclude it. No, this is not double standard, one-sided BS. This is the real McCoy. Women have gotten by because of double standards in society, with getting by with it, okay? And it's always been focused on the men when it's both genders. But the problem is, it's an issue that they had no control over as far as their traction. What they did have control over was their actions, like this gal's father. But he didn't control his actions. And anytime an adult man thinks they can stick their penis in a child's vagina, excuse my language, They're out to lunch in their head. You will hurt that child. End of story. You will hurt the child. And I'm sure this is what happened to this gal, this commenter, as a child as she was raped. And I'm sure she was torn, she bled, she hurt. Not counting all the emotional and mental damage it's done to her. I totally understand her anger. I really do. I understand how she feels and what she's saying and the nightmares and what she's talking about. But regardless of all that, and this is not to blow you off and not to, anything other than to tell you the truth. As long as you can go on saying, I don't care if someone asks for this or not. See, this is the problem. You don't care if they didn't ask for the attraction or not. What you should be angry at is the actions, not caring that they didn't ask for the attraction is the problem. It's the reason nobody ever went looking for the root cause. And it's the reason it will continue to happen and other kids will go through what you went through. If you want to correct the problem, you have to find the root cause. It's causing the problem. And correct the cause. Then the problem goes away. Until you do that, the problem don't go away. It just keeps coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. And there's going to be more children just like you. And why? Well, because everybody's going to act just like you. Now, you're acting out of anger and what's happened to you and the hurt and damage that's been put onto you. And I don't feel you, and I don't feel, I do feel you here, but what I'm trying to say is what you've been hurt out of is where your anger comes from. The trauma that you've been through your life that has to be awful, okay? It really does. It has to be awful, right out of evil. And I agree with how you feel totally. You have a right to feel this way. But you got to back off your anger. You got to back off your hurt. And you got to try to hear what's being said. And you got to try to think about the reality. The reality is if we go on not caring that people are born this way, then we'll go on not looking for why to fix it. Which means there will be more victims. And the victims will continue to always happen. You can lock as many of them up as you want, but it ain't going to matter. Somebody else is going to be born that way, grow up, and it's going to happen again and happen again and happen again. And these people literally ain't going to have no life because their life's going to be destroyed by the stress and the pressure of having an attraction they don't want. And fighting not to act out on their feelings. And trying to figure out, how do I not act out? And having to go get counseling and learn all the things that they need to know so they don't act out and control themselves their whole life. Because nobody gives a shit. When you start caring, then you understand what I'm telling you. I'm not saying caring for the person who done this to you as in your dad. Or any person that's doing this to a child. The actions are wrong. I'm saying caring about, you really want to save other children, do you? Ask yourself that question. Do you really want some other girl or boy to go through with what you went through in your life? I'm sure I know you don't. And you want it stopped. I agree. But you can't stop it by these actions. These actions come from the hurt that happened to you. You have to stop it by finding that root cause. And finding a way of fixing the root cause so that people don't grow up having attractions to children. Then you're actually doing some justice. Because now they don't grow up having this problem. Their life's not destroyed and they don't screw up and destroy other young, innocent lives themselves. Because you fixed the problem. Because you found the problem. Because you looked for the problem. And you didn't act out of anger and say you don't care. That's the problem. That's the reason I'm making this video back at you. I understand your anger, your feelings, and why you feel the way you feel. This happened to you by your own father. And even if it wasn't your own father, it was some neighbor down the road. If this had happened to you, I totally understand how you feel. But you need to back off your anger and your hurt for just a little bit and think about what's being said to you. If you don't care enough to look for the root cause, then you're not really trying to protect the children. No, you're not. Not at all. So what if you think you can chase them down and catch them and lock them up? Too late. Child's already been damaged by the time you're locking them up. And there's another one born just waiting to be the next. To do it to another child. To do it to another child. And then there's another child born that's going to grow up and do it to another child, another child. Why? Because the root cause is still there. You never went looking for it. That's why I tried to use the car to give you an example. You've got to back off and start caring. Not caring about the actions, the damage they do unto others, but caring about what's causing the problem. Let's see if we can't figure it out and fix it so that it's no longer a problem by finding what's causing it. Then you can diagnose it when they're born as a little baby child yet. And know. And then you have a way of curing it before they grow up to have an attraction that's going to destroy their life too. This is where I'm coming from. I'm sorry for what's happened to you. But you need to try to back off a little bit and think about what's being said. The right thing is to find the root cause and fix the root cause. Then there won't be pedophiles because we will actually be able to fix it when they're young and they won't grow up to be a pedophile. And then there won't be children victims of this BS. But if we can continue to act out as we've always acted out for hundreds of years now that this has been going on, okay, you don't care, okay? The children didn't ask for this either. Yes, I agree the children didn't ask for it neither, but it was a child that grew up that done this because the child had the problem as a child and didn't know it yet because the child's hormones hadn't totally developed yet. You could try to understand what I'm telling you. No, the children didn't ask for it, but you better remember that pedophiles were children themselves, and if they were born with the problem, it's not going to go away. So what are you going to do? Kill it when it comes out the wound? Check it. If it has the issue, rather than try to fix the issue, let's just go kill it? So if you have a child yourself and they did a test on it and they had a test for it, if they'd done the research and had a test for it, and your child showed that, it's going to grow up to be a pedophile, are you going to willingly kill your own child that you just had? Or are you going to want to look to see if there's some way you can alter it so that when the child grows up, it won't have this problem? I think if you're a loving mother who loves your child as it's born, you're not going to want your child to live that kind of a life, and you're going to want it fixed so that your child will never be. This is the point. To fix the problem, you have to fix the root cause. And not caring will never get that done. It'll just allow another victim. That's all you're doing. And I hate to say that to you. I'm not trying to be mean to you in any way at all. Okay? I'm just telling you. I understand you're hurt and you're angry and why you're saying what you're saying. But if you go on saying what you're saying and that's the way you act about it and everybody acts that way with you about it, nobody's going to look for that root cause now, are they? This means you just allowed it to happen to another child. And as you lock the one up that did it to that child, there'll be another one. And another one. And while you're getting after them, there's another baby born somewhere in the U.S. or somewhere overseas. And another baby over here born. And guess what? Them babies are also going to be pedophiles. Why? Because they have the same problem. But you're not willing to look for that problem, are you? Do you follow what I'm telling you? Back up off your anger and understand what I'm saying. That's all I can tell you. The right thing to do is to find the root cause and find a way of altering, fixing, surgery, whatever, the problem so that this child does not grow up to become a pedophile to begin with because they don't want that attraction. It'll destroy their life. And then anybody they touch destroys their life. It's like a virus. It'll destroy their life and anybody they touch's life. So find the root cause to the virus and take out the virus and save them both.